There's a great question from Lewis, and I apologize, Lewis, if I mispronounced your name. If I may ask, what is your conversion rate for the rolling 12 months? I want to have a benchmark. When people ask that, what I usually hear is, what's your average? And I don't like talking about average because average is the best of the worst and the worst of the best. If you look at the top 500 agents in our network that have received at least 25 referrals, right? So they've got a fair volume of referrals. Their conversion rate is just over 7%, meaning that for every 10 consumers we introduce them to, they're going to show houses to typically 3 of them, and they're going to sell a house to 1 of them. The other thing to know is, on average, if an agent receives 23 referrals from us, they have a closing within their first 23 referrals. So what that means is, if you look at every agent in Ojo that's received 23 or more referrals, something like 83% of them had a closing out of one of those first 23. And so it is like, I think from a lead quality perspective, these are a lot like open house leads. They are like real live humans walking in. They're interested in real estate. They want to talk to you. The great news is you don't have to set up your signs, buy Costco cookies, or shake hands with anybody, because we do the front end sifting for you. You just got to answer the phone when we call.
As someone who has 13 aggregators, your quality is better than most. We're a little over 11% with you in terms of two-way conversation to close. And it's because you guys vet a little bit deeper, which I think comes from your real estate background, to be honest. You and Chris both knowing we don't need more leads to our agents. We need better leads to the agents, because it's all about, the only thing we all have the same amount of and never enough of is time. So the better lead, I'd rather have 3 great leads than have 25 maybes, because the math just doesn't work for qualifying.
Yeah, and there's Steve, to build on that, there's 2 things. We're always testing and learning at Ojo, and I'll give you all some inside baseball on something we're working on now. We do a lot of like big data, machine learning, AI powered investigation, if you will, of our consumers. And what we see is that for every consumer that transacts, there's 4 or 5 that transact, 1 through Ojo, then 4 or 5 not through Ojo, right? They're using your competitors, they're using somebody else. And what we see a lot of times with these people is that the folks with more education, more financial certainty, more purchasing power, guess what? They don't like to answer questions about creditworthiness, purchasing power, and financial savviness. And so we are working very hard in our data models. And when you see maybe things coming a little slower with apps and things like that, it's because we're investing there to figure out who are those customers on the front end, match them using big data, and ask them the appropriate screening questions. Because unfortunately, if you ask somebody if their credit is fair, good, or excellent, irrespective of what it is, guess what the answer is most of the time?
Excellent, baby.
Because I want to make it through your freaking vetting process. So we're trying to leverage data and learn so that we can deliver even higher quality intros while also reducing friction for consumers. And I think you should see quality go up in the coming months even more than it already is.
Well, you guys, everybody needs to see this. You're going to see less leads, better quality. You're also going to see the aggregators have all figured out more agents don't mean more closings. Better agents mean more closings. So market share should be all you're talking about to your teams for the next 12 months, period, the end. Because you're going to see less deals, but you're going to see better entities close more transactions. And when you grow market share and make a little more or about the same money, then 2 years later, you wake up and you've got this large share of the market and the market suits back up. This is where wealth is made, in market share markets like the one we're going into.
Yep, 100% agree. There's a few questions in Q&A I'm going to rattle through. One is, does an agent need to be on your team in order to refer the lead? The answer is yes. If you are going to refer the lead, they need to be on your team. You can't transfer between agents if they're not on your team. If you're trying to refer the lead to somebody not on your team, you should do it by emailing support@ojolabs.com. We'll transfer it to their account and facilitate that for you. Next one up, if they're also on Ojo, I want a lead yesterday that my agent also tried to get, but it's better for her. So is there a way to transfer it to her on the platform? What I just said, email support at Ojo Labs. We'll make that happen for you. There's a question about matching algorithm and price points. The reality is, look, y'all, the market has changed. I mean, Google is telling us that search volume for homes for sale across North America is down 15 to 18%, full stop. So what that's going to mean is that within your individual markets, volume, lead mix, meaning the price point mix, preparedness, all that stuff is very much in flux. We are so blessed at Ojo to have an amazing search engine marketing and optimization team that even though the market is off 15 to 18%, our volumes are still growing year over year. They're not growing as fast as we'd like them to, but we're still pacing 350 to 360 million people being on our website this year, which is the top of the funnel for the activities for somebody like you. Michelle is saying, you haven't been able to unsnooze. Please email support at Ojo Labs on that one because that is not an expected thing. You should be able to unsnooze. Seller leads. I think this is an important one to hit on. And Steve, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
At Ojo, we are developing some seller specific campaigns. Stay tuned. It's coming. We realize the value of seller leads. There's some things we've tested in a few markets. At the same time, what we know is 1 in every 4 plus or minus referrals that we send has a home to sell. There are so many seller leads in the leads that we're sending out today. We're doing things internally to try and optimize for collecting that info. But like I said earlier, if a consumer is asking a question about a house and we get them on the phone and we start asking them all these other questions about financial readiness and the house they need to sell and everything else, we're adding friction to that rapport and making your job harder. So this is where we really have to lean into you all and your relationships, and we'll continue to improve our side. Curious to hear your thoughts, Steve.
First of all, Jeremiah, we teach every lead's a seller lead. Everybody, for the most part, has to do something with another property. Now, if they don't, because they're coming out of renting, great. You have other friends that are also renting. Everybody, we on average get a multiple transaction almost 53% of the time in Rise. Because we teach them that they have something on the other side, whether it be referral, whether it be a house to sell, whether it be I'm coming out of this financial issue or that, it doesn't matter. Every lead you should think of as your real estate consumer for life. How am I going to engage that lead such that I can help them through this process? If you come from a place of help, a place of abundance, I'm going to help you with this. Believe me, they feel it and they want to work with you. I already have my listing agent. Great. Again, if I can help in any way, I do a free equity home assessment for all of my clients, whether it's on the buy or sell side. What's an equity home assessment? Well, let's make sure we know what your equity net is based on what the market is. My people like to know that. Happy to do that for you. No obligation. We use these words in every consultation. It's free, confidential, and there is no obligation. Know what happens when you say that? What's the consumer do? Okay, so there's no obligation? No, sir. I provide this for all folks that I'm working with. Or you and I are engaged on the buy side. Happy to do it for you. It's free, confidential, no obligation. Please use your current agent. Happy to provide value. And then shut up, because they tend to find their way back to you because not everything's perfect on the other side generally. But yes, over 50% of the time, we generate at least a referral transaction in the next 90 days.
Love it. I love it. And that is, and I think, Steve, the thing where my brain went as you were talking is taking my Ojo hat off and putting my agent team owner hat on. The reason to be a part of all of these referral programs is not for the referral program. It's for all the referrals you'll get from the referrals you got from the referral program. Because mind you, we don't take a referral fee when the person that we refer you to refers their friends, family, and other folks. And you have to really be in that mindset of cultivating referrals from these customers, finding the subsequent business and staying with them.
It's the reality of what we're looking at, guys, going forward. Okay, you're building a data bank, not a database. A data bank is a series of recurring revenue for future buyers and sellers. That's what you should be building, and that's why you have aggregator partners.
Yep. There's a really good question. One more time, Steve. Sorry.
I'm just conscious of your time. I know we've got time-wise. So you let me know.
Yeah, no, we're doing good. Let me answer the Spanish question, just address Spanish. For those of you that don't know, we do have a call center of full Spanish-speaking reps, a full Spanish-speaking concierge team. And we have the inverse problem in a lot of places that we have in English. We have a tremendous amount of OSN demand from agents for English-speaking leads. And then on the other side, we have quite a few Spanish-speaking customers, and we don't have enough Spanish-speaking agents. So if you speak Spanish or you have agents on your team that speak Spanish, let us know. Email support at Ojo, go in your agent tools and update that. When you do that, though, be prepared to know that that's going to mean you will probably receive a majority Spanish-speaking leads by doing that. And so just be prepared, know that it is a way to get your foot in the door with the network and show us what you can do from a conversion standpoint, because there is more opportunity, on the Spanish-speaking side. The one other thing before I ask you for a parting thought, Steve, is if you all haven't seen the new functionality that we developed in the last 2 months called Click to Connect, that's an important piece of functionality. You should pay attention to that. And David, yeah, what you're calling out there, if you are saying you speak Spanish in the app, and then we're trying to send you transfers of people that speak Spanish, but you don't actually speak Spanish, correct. They will not pass you the client that doesn't speak the same language as you. So what you should do is onboard the agent on your team that speaks Spanish so that they can get the Spanish speaking transfer. But back to Click to Connect. When you go into your Ojo agent tools, you'll see that for some clients, it's not on every client, you'll be able to click to connect. And it works just like a multi-line dialer, where you click to connect, it's going to call you first, you're going to hang out and wait, and it's going to ring out to the customer. Trust me when I say that is important signal that our teams are looking for. And so if we send you a lead, and that is a cold transfer, meaning that it's somebody that we couldn't warm transfer them for whatever reason. They were busy, you weren't available, and you win it as an SMS, make sure you use that technology, because we are listening for that. We're watching for that. We are not listening to the calls, but we're listening to the signal that you're clicking the button and using the technology. And that's an important thing for us. Steve, why don't you bring us home with some parting thoughts? We'll field a couple final questions and get out of here.
I will say this, that I think that I love the market we're going into. A lot of us made our bones when things got tougher, and things are going to get tougher. It's good. It doesn't matter what the market does. It matters what you do. And action eliminates fear. We are running the largest real estate event that's agnostic in the U.S. in Las Vegas, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, called Crystal Ball Summit. Chris Heller's a speaker of ours. I have John Cheplack, Gary Keller, Rene Rodriguez, and 34 of the largest agents in the United States on stage from 19 different companies. Every agent speaking does 200 million or more in volume. We'd love you to look at being our guest. We're about 82% sold out. It will be an unbelievable opportunity. I've put it in the chat so you guys can see it. I know Carolyn put it in the chat earlier. It's crystalballsummit.com. So at the end of the day, it is going to be one of the, it's just nugget rich. Everybody that attends, you have to attend to get it. You're going to get the updates from every single session, how you hire, how you generate, how you do X, Y, Z, et cetera. So the reality is that's an important piece. And for you guys' perspective, we'd love to have you involved if you'd like to come.